Wow. So my last Monster Hunter Wilds video got a ton of responses, way more than I expected. 5% of the people agreed with me and 95% disagreed. Completely thought I was off the mark. I've seen the comments and I just want to address them. And I'm going to be completely forthright, honest, transparent. I was having a shitty day. I needed to get whatever it was off of my chest, and I did that. Okay, I was just venting. I have no one to vent to. So I decided to do it on camera and upload it to YouTube. And to my surprise, I am literally the odd one out in the community that feels this way with Monster Hunter Wilds. And that's okay. You know, everyone is entitled to their own opinion. I've got to be honest, I didn't even go onto my YouTube studio for a good day or two. And then I come back to all these comments and stuff like that, which kind of threw me for a loop. Let's just say that. I'm just going to start off by saying I still think Capcom is taking a huge risk with this game and not expanding on Monster Hunter World. That's just my opinion, and I stand by that. Okay, I genuinely think they could have done another DLC. They could have expanded more. But I also get why you guys might be excited for a new game, a new installment, new mechanics. I might have been too harsh in how I said things. I did watch it back just before. I was very upset. So the biggest one I saw was about the clutch claw and how that was being taken out, and you guys actually preferred that compared to it having it like you did in World. That surprised me too. And I think the truth of the matter is that I'm not a long-time Monster Hunter fan. I'm a Monster Hunter World fan. You know, that's the only game that I have ever played in the Monster Hunter series. So I guess coming into Monster Hunter World and then going to Monster Hunter Wilds, maybe I didn't see that natural progression through the series. I'm starting to think. Okay, so the biggest one I would say is the clutch claw. So let's start there. So my main issue with Wilds is that it felt like, to me, it took away some of that freedom and aggression that made me fall in love with World. Okay, aggression. I'm an aggressive fighter in video games, and the clutch claw was a big part of that for me. The biggest question I have is Capcom just getting rid of it because the community is saying that it's bad? And if so, are they replacing it with anything? And one thing that surprised me personally was that apparently most of the community is genuinely happy that it's gone. I had no clue. You know, I'm not in touch with the community, so that's fair enough. I still think it added a level of aggression that I enjoyed as a player, but I can understand why some players can probably think that it's repetitive or it's like a fight skipper, you know? So I can see both sides here. Now the second one was focus mode. I saw a lot of people saying focus mode does make you feel like Levi from Attack on Titan, and you know, it does feel rewarding. And look, I get it, you know, watching back I can see how focus mode has that satisfying flow to reward players. But look, for me personally, it just still feels like the AI is doing too much for the player. You know, those cool combos, I just spat, those cool combos that you get stuck in an animation into, I want to do that, you know, I want to do those sick moves. All I have to do is just hold the shift mode, my focus mode, hold shift, click a button, and then watch the animation go on. You know, I want to do something. I don't want the AI to do all those cool moves for me. I seriously love the idea of focus mode. I do. I just wish that they would maybe look more into it to the point where it's not just about clicking one button and then letting an animation play out. I want it to be more skill-based. Another big concern was Destiny 2 and me comparing that to Monster Hunter World or the Monster Hunter series in general. Fuck no, okay? Never in my life would you catch me comparing that to Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter's way, it's in a different league, okay? I was merely just making an example, as Destiny 2 is a video game that came out in 2017, and they've brought out 5 DLCs in that time. And how successful have they been? Pretty damn successful. So I was just stating a fact that a game like Destiny 2 is bringing out DLCs. I'm pretty sure they brought one out in 2023, 2 years ago, whatever it was. And players are still jumping on it. And I was just making a point that, you know, maybe Monster Hunter World should have done that. They shouldn't have just done one DLC. Even though there was someone who was saying Iceborne is pretty much 3 DLCs in one, and I totally get that. Trust me, I do. I just feel like they could have done another one. But hey, if you disagree with that, you disagree with that. You know, that's fine. Now, I think I'll be real for a second, okay? Most of my frustration was not rage bait. As much as you might think that it is, I genuinely did not mean it for it to come out that way. I was just venting. I have no one to vent to. I've no one to vent to. So I decided to do it on camera, upload the video. I did not think that the majority of the Monster Hunter community felt indifferent about the way that I felt. And maybe this is just what happens when you have someone who joins the Monster Hunter world, no pun intended, playing Monster Hunter World for the first game. You know, I didn't see that natural progression from the very first game, which was, I believe, in PlayStation. I fell in love with Monster Hunter World because of what it was and not what I knew, if that makes sense. And most of that frustration that came into that video was because I was expecting Monster Hunter World 2. And Wilds is not that. The UI threw me off. The user interface was just completely different than what I expected. My keybinds were different. I mean, my switchblade, all my keybinds were completely thrown in a mumble jumble. And I think the truth is I just wasn't patient enough to learn a new game, new mechanics. And when you go into a game frustrated, it's easy to focus, no pun intended, on what you don't like instead of what's actually good. So I completely understand where you guys are coming from. I understand why you think it's rage bait. I understand your negative comments. Just know that it was not intentional. I genuinely mean that. And I'm sorry that you feel that way. I just needed to vent. I didn't know who to vent to. And I'm still going to stand on this hill and say that everything that I said in the video, I completely still agree with. So where do I stand now? I still think some of my points hold up. Okay, I don't think focus mode is perfect. It's not skill-based enough for me personally. I think they need to make it more rewarding. You need to make the player feel more rewarded rather than just hitting a spot that is a very large hitbox, by the way. And I miss the aggression with such things like the clutch claw. I think being planted on 2 feet, working around the monster, not being like agile enough and sticking at its feet, you know, it's a different type of pacing of fights for me personally. Seriously though, the open world looks actually amazing. I'm actually kind of annoyed that I didn't get a chance to explore a bit more because I was so frustrated with the game. And I think there's going to be one thing that I want to tell most of you, which are probably going to surprise you, is thank you. And you might be like, why are you thanking me? I'm literally cussing you out. I'm literally telling you to kill yourself. The more that I hear from you guys as other players, and especially like long time players, the more I realize that this isn't a step backwards per se. It's just a step in a different direction. Thank you for that. You know, you opened my eyes. As you can tell, I'm no longer angry. I'm definitely not going to take back what I said. I still have a lot to figure out about Monster Hunter Wilds, and I'm sure that like my opinion will evolve as I actually play the game. So I will be playing the game and I will not be thinking about Monster Hunter World. I'm going to go in there with a fresh head. I want to relearn everything. You know, I did it with Monster Hunter World and I fell in love with the game. If I can do it with that game, I can do it with this game. Again, this was not for views or subscribers, okay? Who in their right mind would do that kind of a rant video for views and subscribers? I was literally just venting. I was expecting to lose subscribers, which did happen. Look, I get it. We all have differing opinions. It's a gaming community. This is what makes games great. Passion. If you're not passionate about a game, why are we even talking about it? I've said my piece and now it's your turn. Do you think Wilds will genuinely live up to the hype and maybe even surpass world? Or do you think that they are two separate games in their own right and there is no comparing? I don't know, maybe you can convince me. I'd love to go into Wilds with a fresh start, fresh head, learn everything again. And I think I will do that if I can save enough money. So for the person who told me to go kill myself, I would genuinely like to say to you, you might have a bit too much passion for the game and for the series as a whole. Maybe just think twice about sending such messages online, okay? Lucky for me, I've been bullied for most of my life, so seeing such comments on and words on the screen doesn't really affect me. Okay, I've learned to be mature about that type of stuff. That's all I wanted to say. I didn't mean for it to come off as rage bait, but I think it did come off as rage bait, if that makes sense. I didn't mean for it like that, okay? Genuinely. So thank you so much for opening my eyes a little bit. I'll see you guys when the game comes out. See you guys.